moved 9 times in the last 10 years. I blame my liberal arts education. Because the first time I ever moved was when I lived in the college dorms, and I had moved there for college, obviously, because that's when you live in a college dorm. And I moved, and it was like a whole new world opened up. I didn't have my terrible green shag carpeting in my bedroom at home anymore. I now had, well, it was a dorm floor, so it was still really gross. But I had this new space that I could make my own, and I could get rid of the crap that I no longer needed, and I could buy this new, fun IKEA bookshelf that was going to be perfect for my room. And it was so exciting. It was this whole new beginning for me. And it opened up my eyes to the wonders that are moving into a new place and having a place where you could just personalize it and have it be wonderful. So I became kind of a nomad, in that I have now moved, like I said, 9 times in the last 10 years. And as much as I love the part where you actually get to move into the new space, I hate every other fucking part of moving. It's terrible. Putting stuff in boxes, finding the boxes to put your stuff into, finding friends that love you enough to put your boxes into the moving van for pizza and beer. I mean, every other part of moving sucks, but the actual moving in part, that new beginning, I love that. So you'd think that having moved 9 times in the last 10 years, that I would be good at it. I'm not. I've actually probably gotten worse at moving. And part of that is because now we have 3 children. And moving with kids is terrible. It's really, really bad. Now, the first time we moved with kids, I was pregnant and I hadn't told anybody, which makes you look like a giant asshole. Because you invite people over and you say, hey, come move my stuff. I'm not gonna lift anything. So, yeah, that'd be great. Here's some pizza. So it was kind of, it went from there. And after we had our first kid and we were moving cross country, we then moved back here to Marshall, Minnesota. And a month after that, we found out that we were having twins. So it turned out that our little 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment was going to be really small for our 5-person family. And we made it work for as long as we could, and then we said, I am out of here. This is not going to work anymore. Having 3 beds all lined up in a row in one little bedroom, that's just, there's too much stress there. At bedtime, it's terrible. So we decided to move to a new place. And we had all this kind of issues that we were having trying to find a new place. We thought we were going to move in someplace. It didn't end up working out. So we had half of our stuff boxed up, and it was out in the garage, and so we were living half out of boxes and half still in this place where we were living, and we were like, this is terrible. But finally, our moving day came, and that was this last Saturday. And I was really excited. We were finally going to be into a place I could put everything where it was supposed to go, to be a new beginning. But of course, it's all the stress that you forget that comes with the week before you're going to move. And with kids, it's compounded because you can't just pack up all their toys. You can't pack up their beds like you could with yours. You can sleep on the floor for 2 days if you need to if you're a single person. You can't do that with kids. They get really pissed. So, we have all their stuff, and I was thinking, okay, the last week before we move, that's when I'm going to pack everything. And it's going to be great. And it's going to be a couple of all-nighters, just like when I was single, and I could get this done. And then Ben gets terribly sick. I mean, so sick that he's not going to work, which is really sick. He does not go to work. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to take care of all the kids, and I'm trying to take care of him, and I'm trying to pack, and I've got finals that I'm grading, I've got finals I'm taking, I'm going to school right now also. And I'm about to pull my hair out. I'm like, I cannot do this. This is the worst week of my entire life. And then moving day comes, and we still don't have everything packed, but we've got great friends, and they're coming over, and they're going to help us finish packing. And it's going to be great. And we've got great friends who have moved over so many boxes for us already. So we had all those boxes out of the garage. All we had to do was get the stuff out of the house. And Ben was feeling better, so it was going to be okay. And we have all the stuff that happens on moving day regularly. We had Jed Clampett style, put the mattress on top of the van roof, and I made the corner too quick so the mattress flew off. It was really fancy. And, so we have that going on. I drop a wardrobe down on Mark Fokin's hand, and I try and break his fingers off, so I feel terrible about that. It took, I think, 3 guys worth of testosterone to get a sofa through a doorway. It was not going to go fit in, but again, thankfully Mark was there. He kind of jujitsu'd it through the door. I don't know exactly what it was, but he did something, and the sofa was in the house. So we were really excited. And at the end of a long day of moving, the one thing you want to do, the thing that gets you through everything else, is that you get to take a shower. and you get all that sweat of the old place off, and it's the new beginning of living in a new place and getting to take a shower. And I go to turn on the water, and it's freezing cold, and the water heater was not working. And I said, this is the worst day ever! I am so mad right now. And I was so tired, I just went to bed, and I said, you know what, I'll fix it in the morning. All right, so I get up in the morning, and all right, I'm rested, I'm gonna fix this water heater, all right? It's probably the pilot light that's out. This is a gas-heated house, it's probably just the pilot light. So I go downstairs, I've got my clicky lighter. I've never fixed a pilot light before. I've never fixed a water heater. I got my pilot light clicker thing, I'm gonna turn it on, it's gonna be great. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, all right, so there's probably like a door, and there's probably instructions, and I look at it, and it says electric water heater. I'm like, okay, so where's the pilot light? There is no pilot light on an electric water heater, it turns out. So I was thinking, all right, so it's not gonna have a pilot light. All right, what else do I know? Maybe it's turned off. That's what they always tell you when your computer's not working. You just need to turn it on. All right. So I'm looking for an on switch, and I'm not seeing anything, and everything's like covered up. So I'm like, all right. So I pull up my phone, I'm like Googling, how do you turn on an electric water heater? Because you know, when you don't know, you go to Google. So I was Googling, it says, oh, okay, so it's in the breaker box, you have to turn the breaker on. Well, now I feel dumb. Of course it's the breaker box. So I go over to the breaker box, and I find the only one that's off, thankfully, so I didn't have to try and read which one it was, and I turn the breaker on, and nothing happens. And I don't know if I was expecting like a glug, 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 like it's working, or like a humming, or like a party. I don't know what I was thinking was gonna happen, but nothing happens. So I call my dad, and it's like 10 or 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning, or a Sunday morning, so I figured he'd still be home. And he's giving me these things to check, and nothing is happening, and I can't get it to work. He says, okay, the last thing I want you to check is there should be 2 pipes coming out of the top of it, and one should be cold and one should be hot. And if that's happening, then it's working. So I felt him, I'm like, one's cold, one's hot. He's like, it's working then. I don't know why you called me. Like, I don't know either. I guess we fixed it. You know, but at that point, I'm still feeling pretty huge. I was feeling a little bit weird, but I'm still feeling pretty huge. So I walk up the stairs, and I'm pulling a Tina Fey and 30 Rock, and I'm high-fiving 1,000 Angels. I'm so excited. I fixed the water heater. I just took a shower. This is gonna be great. You know, and then like, we're just invigorated for the day. So we're putting away these boxes. And we're putting boxes up in the attic of all like the really nice dishes that you have to have in case like the Pope visits, but you know, you're not ever actually gonna use, but you have to have them. So we're putting those up in the attic because you have to have them somewhere, and you know, if your mom comes, you have to make sure that she's seen that you had them. So we're putting those up in the attic, and I put my craft stuff away, and it's all good, and then we start to smell the smell. And we're like, that's weird. I wonder why this smells like this. You know, I guess maybe the water heater's turning on. So, you know, it's heating up the water, all right. Well, then the smell gets a little bit stronger. So like, did we put a box against the water heater? Is it getting a little bit warm? That's not really cool. Well, then it started to really smell warm. And so I'm in the other room with the kids, and we kind of put the gate up to keep them out of the kitchen so they don't like play with the boxes full of knives that we have. And I said, Ben, can you go check on the water heater? And I'm gonna get the kids settled. So he goes down in the basement, and then he calmly calls up to me. He says, Julie, it appears that the water heater is on fire. Now let's just think about that for just a minute. We're talking about a tub full of water being on fire. Like actually on fire. So I come downstairs, because I have to see this for myself. You know, like that's not just something you take on somebody's word that the water heater's on fire. So I walk downstairs, and sure enough, the water heater is actually on fire. Flames coming on in the middle of it. Not the bottom, not the top, the actual middle of this thing. So I'm thinking, really? That's what's gonna happen today. That's what's happening. All right. So I go back up the stairs. Luckily, I know where the fire extinguisher is. And I come down the stairs, and I can't figure out how to work it, but I think back to when I worked at a nursing home, and I got trained on how to use a fire extinguisher. Because apparently when you work at a nursing home, lots of old people start on fire, so you need to know how to use that. So like, I thought back to that training, and I figured out how to work it. And I got the fire out, and we turned the breaker off, and we get the kids outside, because we're thinking they probably shouldn't be smelling smoke and like exposed to the dust and all that. So we put them out in the van, and there's no seats in the van, because we've been using it for moving. But we do have a video player, so I say, okay, we're just gonna get a video playing for the kids, and then they can sit in there while we get the fire department and everything else. And I put a DVD in, and I shit you not, the movie that I randomly grabbed is Elmo Goes to Visit the Firehouse. I shit you not. That's actually the movie that came out. So they're watching that movie, and there's like trucks coming up, and like all these people are gathering around. I'm like, this is the way to meet the neighbors. Like, you start the house on fire, and then that's the way that you're gonna meet all the people in the neighborhood. So happening, they figured that the water heater had tripped the breaker, and then when I turned it back on, it couldn't trip the breaker again, and that's why it started on fire. And it was not as scary of a situation as it could have been. I mean, we think about what had happened if we had turned the water heater on and then gone and played in the backyard. Or if we turned the water heater on and we'd gone to the store and we couldn't smell the smoke right away. Or even scarier if we turned the water heater on and we'd gone to sleep. So there's a lot of situations in this where it could have gone a lot worse for our family. It could have been a lot scarier. But what we've been trying to do is not dwell on those scary thoughts. Because bad stuff could happen all the time. I mean, it could be happening right now. Something bad could be happening to any one of us. But it's not. And if we dwell on all the scary stuff that's happening, or that could be happening, or that could have happened, we can't keep moving forward. We can't be seeing these new beginnings of every new day. And, well, I don't anticipate that I'm actually going to be moving to a new house quite as often as I have been in the last 10 years. I do know that I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep having these new beginnings, and these new experiences and new adventures. And I love that part of my life, because it's these new adventures and these new experiences that help us to continue to grow and to become the people we are. Thank you so much.